Well, it's hard to believe it's been 2 years. This is 2 years this week. I took delivery of this 2006 Yamaha Morphous, so I wanted to do a 2-year review on it. I know in my excitement when I first got it, November of 2017, I was so excited about it. I never had a Morphous. I only had a Honda Helix before as a reference. I had sport bikes and so forth, but I did a quick review when I first got it, and subsequent I did a couple of videos, but I really wanted to do a really useful review after having her 2 years. For those of you maybe are out there looking to find one of these, they're not that common. They didn't sell very well in the United States, and I know I was pretty critical in the beginning of why I thought maybe they didn't sell. I get so many mixed reviews. People thought they were ugly. You know, I don't see where this is an ugly bike. I think it's a very futuristic, streamlined looking bike. All respect to Helix owners. You know, the Helix, although it's been tremendously successful since the late 80s, they've been selling them like crazy. Honda is a great manufacturer, but Yamaha is probably one of the best motorcycle piano precision manufacturers, and I'm telling you, over 2 years now, I can tell you that this is probably one of the most well-made scooters, motorcycles, whatever you want to call it, maxi scooters, that I've ridden. There's nothing cheap on this bike. Everything is really well made. There's as I mentioned in some previous videos, there's no cheap chintzy plastic here. And that's where I want to go with that. I'm not going to beat that horse to death, but Yamaha is just they are like they are outstanding when it comes to the quality of their stuff. Here's another feature. People wondering what this little handle is. This is your parking brake, and a combination of a little security here. When you park it, you turn your handlebar and just turn your key, and that locks the handlebars. So when you have it parked, and I always suggest people to put it up on the center stand. And again, you have both a center stand and a side stand on here. I almost always use the center stand when I park it for if I'm going somewhere and I park it, I always put it up on the center stand. All right, now into the nuts and bolts of owning a 2006 through 2008 Yamaha Morphous. What can I say? Again, I beat that horse about the quality. It's just heavy duty, well-made plastics and metal. Tremendous amounts of really good, pretty good usable storage. You have a good glove compartment, locking glove compartment. The seat pops open. Close this. The seat pops open. You got that area where generally people would put a helmet, and another little tray here. Your passenger, well-made metal, no plastics, nice backrest, and again a pretty good size trunk. Not as large as the Helix. However, between the deficit of the storage here compared to the Helix, with the addition of the under seat storage and the glove compartment, I would say that this is equal to the Helix. Just recap, if those of you who haven't seen my first videos, I bought this again 2 years ago. I bought it from a dealer. It was a consignment bike. It was in storage for 10 years. The only thing I had to do with it when I first got it, I hired a private shipper to trailer it to my home. I spent the extra money to have it enclosed ship rather than have it on the an outdoor carrier. I suggest you do that, spend the extra money, because they really do get damaged. Anyway, the only thing I had to do when I first took delivery of it is I changed the tires. I got new tires because the originals were they were 10 years old, so they're cheap enough. I changed the spark plug and the oil, and I just checked the radiator fluid. That was fine. I tested that, and I actually added some, so it was fine. On to how the performance compared to the Helix, and I'm not really shooting a performance comparison, but between the Helix and this is a fuel injection as opposed to carbureted with the Helix. You have different size tires, front and rear. I think they're 12 and 13s. Your rear is obviously a little wider. How does she handle? She handles really well. Again, I'm 200, close to 280, and she really she performs really well. She holds real well. I don't ride her on the highway. I use this primarily to putt around to the beach, to come to beautiful spots like this and watch the sunset. I'm blessed to live in Ocean County, New Jersey. This is a beautiful area, Seagirt, and I use it to really go to the beach and boardwalks and so forth. So I'll get her up to 50, 55 tops, and she holds real well. And if you're at 45, 50 miles, or 45, and you need to pass somebody, she'll respond. So she got a good, decent amount of power and speed at pretty much all of your all speed, all your speed areas. Slow, when taking off, she has a really good response. Mid-range, I guess that's just really the transmission. That's the technical part of the transmission, which I'm not an expert at, but it's geared really well. So you're peppy. You have the power to pass people when you need it. Again, it's not a Ninja. I don't mean to infer that. You take it what this is, but it's certainly not a slug. I'm not disappointed when I need to go and pass somebody. Not at all. What a beautiful night. Taking the windshield off is really easy. You got 4 screws. Now I changed the stock screws were plastic. It's another thing that's cheap. I mean, that's the only other thing that I would a negative on the bike. And I replaced them with, these are metric, with metal Allen, and they're Allen head, so nobody could steal. Not that they're gonna look to steal this, but I replaced them with metal, and I'm very careful. I don't tighten them down really. I'm very careful when I change this off each season. That's another thing. And I added this blue Yamaha emblem, which I got on eBay, just to take off my blue pinstripe. One of the main things that really attracted me to the Yamaha Morphous was the short windscreen. I had mentioned earlier that maybe it was useless and so forth, but it actually fits the bike perfectly. I do have an aftermarket Girac 18-inch windscreen, which I'll be putting on shortly during the fall and winter months when it's a little colder out and windier. But I always go back to this during the spring and summer, because this really defines it. It's like a race, cafe racer. That's what I just see it. It's a cafe racer. From the front, it's just a really sporty cafe racing looking bike. And visibility with bikes is such a key issue for safety. People see you coming. Look at the size of the headlight. High beam, low beam. This is really, you have good lighting. At night, it really lights up the road. You got what's really neat about these also is the directionals. At night, these little things glow. So when you put your blinkers on, you can actually see them blinking, but they don't distract. And again, you have the LED readout, which is it glows. It's a nice little red, but it's not distracting. And again, in the back, lots of good visibility, and that's a key, the visibility. It's not tremendously loud. Basically sounds just like the Helix. It's the same engine except for the fuel injection. Different style muffler, but essentially the same. Some people ask what kind of mileage do we get on this. Now I just started it up. When it's got the gas gauge, which is really helpful. It's got some other digital warning lights, which are not on, thankfully. Coolant, oil. When your fuel begins to get below a half, near a quarter, when you first start the bike up, your fuel indicator will blink, just to let you know that you're running a little low and it's time for fuel. I still have a quarter of a tank here, and let's get the selection here. There we go. Now I'm 280 pounds, and I believe it's a 3.1 gallon tank. I have 139 miles. I could still go probably another 40 miles maybe, but I generally get gas once this starts blinking. So just to give you an idea of the fuel economy on these, and again, I'm a heavy guy. If you're a lightweight, you know, if you're 200 pounds or 180 pounds, I would expect you to get a little better fuel mileage than hauling my big butt around. But there you go. I think the only negative I would consider, I say, on the Yamaha Morphous is the design of the gas cap. Now it's kind of tucked down. That white has a little arrow on it. Those two white marks I put there because at night, and I get fuel so infrequently because it really goes. I get such great mileage, but just those two. That's where the locking cap has to line up to snap to lock when you're done fueling up. So I just do that to make it easier for me at night to know where I'm at. But it's kind of awkward. It's kind of set down deep in this little gully here. But other than that, that's probably the only negative. She really runs well. Off the line, remember this is a 250, so you take it at what it is. But it's actually pretty peppy off the line, and top speed 75. I haven't taken it up that high. I really use it to cruise around by the beach, boardwalks and so forth. Here I am, I'm in beautiful Seagirt, New Jersey, right by the bay here. So, but it cruises around easily 45, 50, easily. It's automatic. For those of you who don't know, it is automatic, which is basically you just like a mini bike, you twist and go. It will run when it's up on its center stand. If you push the side stand down, it'll disengage the engine. That's a safety feature. So again, Yamaha has really covered every angle on these. They're just a well built scooter. I used synthetic oil, and I was gonna change the oil. I did a video on changing the oil. So I checked the oil, and it was clean after almost, well, this is about 6 months ago when I was going to change the oil, and I checked it and it was clean. It was like clear, like I just put it in there. And some would argue, well, just go ahead and change it, it's so cheap, but it's synthetic oil. So I figured I'll wait until the spring and I'll change it then. It's just not necessary, especially with the synthetic oil. And I don't beat on it, I don't race it, but changing the oil is a snap. It's real easy. Back and forth again between as with my experience, between the Yamaha Morphous here and the Honda Helix. You have larger wheel diameters, and you have front and rear disc brakes. You have brakes on your handlebar, as opposed to the foot brake, the rear foot brake, which is on the Helix with the drum in the back. Again, I think it's more of a futuristic bike. Someone had mentioned to me, he goes, you know what, that reminds me of a snowmobile. And I really never thought of it that way, or a jet ski. So, but you know what, I mean, remember, these are 10 years old. So, these are 10 years old, and to me, they're really ahead of their time still. So I'm gonna get gas today on the way home. You see it's still beeping. Once you start riding, it'll stop beeping and it'll settle to where the fuel level is at. Another neat detail, and this is where Yamaha really is up ahead of the crowd. I mean, Yamaha, Honda, Kawasaki, all great Japanese built motorcycles. You can't beat them. I mean, all through the 70s, enduro bikes and so forth, Honda, Kawasaki, Yamaha, you can't beat them. But you know, it's the details, the quality details that they put in these that they could have easily just left out, like the light. You can't see it, it's daytime, but there's a little light there for the helmet well or storage well. You know, they didn't have to put that in there. They could have just deleted that and nobody would have been the wiser or complained. But those are the little details that make Yamaha great. You can lock your helmet. I use a little cable lock to lock my helmet. Comes with a tool pouch and the manual. I keep that there. Again, under here I have another video if you want to take a look at my other video on how to access the engine. Very simple. These are really easy. For the rare occasion that you actually have to do engine work on these, and again, the only engine work I see anybody having to do on these is general maintenance. Spark plug, oil filter, and when the time comes, probably the most complex thing would be the drive belt. It doesn't have a chain, it has a drive belt, which I haven't done. But they're like indestructible. So that's really the only maintenance, and of course the coolant, which is under the front here. And you can reference earlier videos I did on that. The coolant container is up underneath, tucked up underneath there. You have Different size tires, front and rear. I think they're 12 and 13s. Your rear is obviously a little wider. How does she handle? She handles really well. Again, I'm 200, close to 280, and she really she performs really well. She holds real well. I don't ride her on the highway. I use this primarily to putt around to the beach, to come to beautiful spots like this and watch the sunset. I'm blessed to live in Ocean County, New Jersey. This is a beautiful area, Seagirt, and I use it to really go to the beach and boardwalks and so forth. So I'll get her up to 50, 55 tops, and she holds real well. And if you're at 45, 50 miles or 45 and you need to pass somebody, she'll respond. So she got a good, decent amount of power and speed at pretty much all of your all speed, all your speed areas. Slow, when taking off, she has a really good response. Mid-range, I guess that's just really the transmission. That's the technical part of the transmission, which I'm not an expert at, but it's geared really well. So you're peppy. You have the power to pass people when you need it. Again, it's not a ninja. I don't mean to infer that. You take it what this is, but it's certainly not a slug. I'm not disappointed when I need to go and pass somebody. Not at all. What a beautiful night. Taking the windshield off is really easy. You got 4 screws. Now I changed the stock screws were plastic. It's another thing that's cheap. I mean, that's the only other thing that I would a negative on the bike. And I replaced them with, these are metric, with metal, and they're Allen head, so nobody could steal. Not that they're gonna look to steal this, but I replaced them with metal, and I'm very careful. I don't tighten them down really. I'm very careful when I change this off each season. That's another thing. And I added this blue Yamaha emblem, which I got on eBay, just to take off my blue pinstripe. And one other thing I failed to show, on your dash you have choice for trip odometer A and B. I guess in case you're cruising in an alternate universe, you'll have trip A and trip B, and then you have your mileage. So I have 5,474 miles, so I put about 2,000 miles on her over the past 2 years. And then you have a clock, and of course fuel. There is a fuel gauge that's pretty much full. So again, I was just at a quarter, one line, which probably, I don't know if that's a quarter or an eighth. I guess it would be considered an eighth, where it was blinking. I had 150 miles on that, so I probably could have gotten about 170 miles on a tank, but I always fill it up once it starts to flash, and it cost me $5 at $2.45 a gallon. I put regular gas in it. I don't put premium or mid-grade, regular gas. So it cost me about $5. So these are extremely fuel efficient. So again, I'm 280 pounds, so if you're lighter than that, you'll get much better fuel economy. I'm sure it takes a lot of extra fuel to lug my big butt around. So there you go. Hope this helps out. And here's the other windscreen I spoke of. This is about, they come in different lengths. I got an 18. I think they go up to 22. I went with the 18. I didn't really need a really high windscreen. Wind Yeah, obviously you have a low windscreen here, so you're going to get a little more wind. But in the summer, it's beautiful. Not a lot of turbulence. It rides really nicely. I can't complain that you get blown all over the place. Although when it's really windy out, especially in the summer, the fall and winter when it's cold, this makes a big difference. It really cuts out. You're wondering why you got these little indentations here. See if we can really show. That's for when you're turning. There's room for your mirrors. So let's see, there's a little difference here. And I paid, this actually has a slight tint to it. I think I paid about $100 for it, $110 shipped. And again, I purchased the blue Yamaha emblem. I put that over the bottom. Just gives a little pizzazz, makes it my own. And again, really easy to replace. Just 4 screws. And as I mentioned, I swapped out the plastic stock screws that came with the Yamaha, and I purchased stainless steel. They're black, not stainless steel, they're black metric Allen key bolts, and I just coated them with black paint just to keep them from rusting, which they don't rust. So, and I don't really leave it out in the rain. So definitely another nice accessory for the for wind. Highly recommend it. All right, let's see how it shows up here. It's starting to get a little dark. We're starting to get near sunset. Here's the headlight. As you can see, the directionals glow pretty well too. Let's go put the high beams on. And you can see the high beams are the bottom bulb. And here's your back end here. Obviously I got the directional on. And your brake light is, I don't think I'll be able to reach the brake handle to show you the brakes, but this whole bottom here, LEDs light up very brightly. And there's the other. And I'll show you up here what I meant when you're riding. Again, your LED readout, pretty straightforward. And it's pretty futuristic. It's a nice LED. Again, the fuel, that'll stop as when I start to ride, when I get underway. Again, at night, it's really neat. It's kind of, you get that nice little glow from the directionals, and here it's not distracting. Again, that locks. Master cylinders, well made, metal. Obviously, they should be. Your mirrors, very well made, all metal, no plastic, right down to the ends. The caps here, they could have easily made these plastic, but they didn't. They're metal. They're hard metal, well made chrome, good quality chrome. All your handles, all your tubing, your hydraulic line protection, all well made. Here's your ignition, all clearly marked on how to unlock, lock your, again, how to lock your steering column, open the seat, off and on. you know what, rather than just describe what it's like to have one of these at night, what better way to really do a correct review than to see the lighting on the Yamaha Morphous at night. And here I am. One of the things that are really beautiful about being in the Jersey Shore is all the wonderful beaches that I can cruise around. And I've got a beautiful sunrise, I'm sorry, moonrise rather, full moon coming up over the Atlantic Ocean here. Lots of places to cruise on the Jersey Shore here. I'm in, just left Seagirt. I'm in Spring Lake, New Jersey, right near one of the old hotels from the 1800s that's still here, the Monmouth. It used to be called the Monmouth Motel, the Essex Sussex, but it's a big condo. It's beautiful. So, as you can see, the Morphous really lights up pretty well at night. There we are. And again, let's we'll show you really quick. As I had mentioned, they have a nice glow while you're riding. It's not distracting. It doesn't really show too much. There you go. Sort of like a muted red digital dash. Now let's put the blinker on. I'll show you what I mean. Go out to the front here. So lots of visibility at night. And that's key, especially in a state like New Jersey that's so you know, that with the traffic, lots of good visibility. So we're gonna hop on and get cruising and enjoy this beautiful, pretty mild fall evening here at the Jersey Shore. I hope this review really helps out for the 2006 Yamaha Morphous. Thanks for watching, everybody. Okay, I hope everybody likes this video. If you're looking to get into a Yamaha Morphous, if you're lucky enough to find one like I did that was in storage for years and years in excellent condition like this one, there are a few out there. I'm always looking. A lot of them that have been used with very high mileage and so forth, but I was really lucky to get this one in storage with such low mileage, and I got a very good deal on it. Again, I had to put a little bit of money into it. So as I close out, any comments or questions about the Yamaha Morphous, please feel free to leave a comment below and like my channel. If you look through my channel, I primarily do Coleus, but I like to do reviews. I have again lots of different interests and so forth. So in the off season, I like to shoot out little videos that I think people will find helpful. And I just remembered that I had this 2 years now this week, and what better review than after 2 years of pretty good use. So I hope you enjoy this as we close out a beautiful sunset here in Seagirt, New Jersey. So I'm gonna go get some gas, and I just put my night face mask on, So we're gonna go cruise do a little night cruising. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was informative. I tried to make it as informative and as detailed as I could. If you have any other questions or you're looking to get into one of these, absolutely drop me a comment, and I'll be happy to help you. And again, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great week, and I'm gonna enjoy a beautiful sunset.